Hey guys, Corey with Iconic Metalworks back here. I got the taxi back. This is, I guess you'd say, their way of sandblasting it. To me, it's not the correct way, but I guess it'll work for what they're wanting to do. So I'm just gonna go over the vehicle with you. I have some rust here, some heavy damage up here in the front fender, a little bit down here in the driver's door. This piece here I already did. I got to do this left rear fender, and this might be a little bit of it has a little flare to it right in here. So I wouldn't say it's going to be a complex piece, but it's going to be not just a flat piece of sheet metal, kind of like what the doors have a little bit of contour, but nothing radical. Obviously the door that's missing is on the table, which I'll show you what I'm getting ready to do. This fender is pretty heavy damaged of rot. It's down here, it goes all the way up. So this fender is going to have to come off, and the weird thing about this particular car is there's a seam here. These are two different pieces in the fender, so it's going to make it easy for me to replace this. And then there's some rot down inside, down in there. And then you go to the back of the vehicle where I guess you would say old style, where they used to put a hole through, screw through, and let Bondo ooze through. That's no more. And then I got to do something with these seams that somebody tried to weld up. But so I'm back on this. Okay. Right now, what I'm currently doing, I'll show you guys. I got the door off, and I'll show you what carnage is going on. So this piece, heavily rotted. Obviously you could see all the way through, so the inner structure is gone as well. So the way I like to do this is I mark it out, okay, and I grind and I measure. Before I grind this edge off, I measure from here to this edge, which gives me the overall what it should be, and then I measure from this edge down, and that gives me, so the overall is going to be 9 7/16 across, 3 3/4 down. But when I first figured it out, before I ground it, it was 8 15/16 and 3 1/4, because I got to have room to bend the flange over. So I take that measurement because it gives me the exact from outside. Then I know where to put the bend in it when I go to the brake. So I grind this edge off, which leaves you with this piece. This is the flange that was folded under. Okay, so that basically falls. Then all you got to do is lift this off. Now the inner structure is pretty bad. I basically kind of poked and prodded, and I got up to basically my cleanest metal up here. And then this is so pitted and stuff, I'm coming all the way to right there, because that's pretty solid, but this is pretty pitted. You got a couple holes here. So I'm going to make a L piece, and I'm going to TIG weld it in, get the inner structure made. Then I'll come back and do this. This car is, I'm going to say it was heavily damaged. There was a crease somewhere in here, like that kind of went through. So once I got this off, I could stick like a spoon underneath and hammer and smooth that out. So when I go to put this piece in, it all ties in. So I'm going to get to cutting this, and I'll keep you guys updated, kind of almost a step by step. But first process is you could measure this out, which what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go get a piece of sheet metal that's roughly, you know, this length. And then what I'll do is I know how the height is. This particular door, like over here, is shorter than what it is here. This is tall, like a taller flange. And then what I'll do is I'll hand cut in the Beverly shear. I'll hand cut it, you know, to get that in. And then when I lay it in and I'll map it out, I'll actually draw my line over what I'm cutting. Then I'll just cut this out, lay in the new piece, TIG weld it in, and then off to this piece. But you could see the heavy damage. So if you guys are, this is basically your normal rust repair. I mean, you're going to get areas like this. There's areas like what I spoke with on the door. or not on the door, but on the front fender where it's heavily damaged in multiple spots. And I don't like to do a patch here, do a patch here, do a patch there. So what I'm gonna do is it could be different, but I'm gonna try to make it like one piece. And it depends what's back there. If there's an inner structure back there and you can't get back to beat the weld out right in there, then I'll have to play with that. But that right there, to me, I don't like to do a patch there, a patch there. You're gonna waste your time. It's easier just to cut this whole piece out, make a whole new piece, and then only have to work one edge, if that makes sense. Because you do a piece down there and it's gonna move the metal and distort it. You get that smooth, then you come up here and do it, then it's gonna distort it here, which is actually gonna get back into what you just smoothed out, and it's just you're just gonna keep chasing it. Which metalwork, you are gonna keep chasing it, but I could really end my chasing process if by cutting that whole strip out and just planishing out that weld and then folding this edge over. And I know that it's gonna be, I only have to worry about the heat movement over here, you know, on that panel instead of control. I mean, the biggest deal is the control. So when I get to that point, I'll show you guys kind of how I do it. There's more than one way to do this, but you don't want to sit here and chase it. You know, you want your metalwork to be as flat as possible, smooth as possible. So I'm gonna get to this door and get to making all my templates, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I got it all mocked up. Got the fresh piece in, it's all dialed in. So what I like to do, so this is my measurement, like I told you. And what I like to do sometimes is put it in the brake and get the initial straight bend, straight line bend started before I hammer and dolly over. But as you can see, the fitment is gonna be pretty well. The lines are gonna line up once I get it bent over. And the reason I do this is because once I get in and get it tacked, I'll start welding it. I'm gonna leave this flange till last so I can get body spoons and things like that underneath to finish out the weld. As you can see, there's structure in here, so it's gonna be hard to get your dolly, especially behind this and behind this. So I'll do it that way, and then I'll get this tacked on and I'll show you guys. After I get it planished, I'll show you guys the planishing method. All right, guys, so I got it welded on, tacked on, and I did a little bit of planishing, and some of you guys wanted to see some of the planishing. I'm still doing it old school with a hammer and a dolly. Dolly on the bottom side, hammer on the top side. I like to use this little ball peen. I've had it for some time, but it's small enough. It may not look that big, but I mean, this is probably 2 inches long. It's a small ball peen, but I could focus on one particular spot. So I got this pretty close. It feels pretty good. And then now I'm beating over this flange. So like I said, I use some duckbill pliers, and I kind of bend it a little bit more because I just get the hard crease line. And then what you want to do, you want to start on the side of the flange, which is going to be like the furthest away. And you start bending it, bending it, bending it. And then what happens is you put your dolly right on the edge, if it'll stay there. And you use your hammer and you hit as close as you possibly can on this edge. And what it's going to do, it's actually going to make the metal do this and kind of pull out. And as you can see,
it's in a perfectly straight line now. This here I'll have to smash down and then kind of just radius the edge a little bit. But I'm getting these bent down because as I was planishing a little bit, this panel was flapping. So now this edge bent under and this edge is almost. All right, guys, I got this welded. I got it pretty close. I just got done beating over this flange. So I used some duckbill pliers. If you guys don't know what they are, they're these. And basically what I did is I put a little bit more bend into it off my original crease line from the brake. And I usually run like a small clamp here, and I just hammer and dolly it. The dolly I like to use, it has some weight behind it, is this one. And I put it right on the edge. And what happens is when you beat that flange over, you want to focus on getting it almost like at a 45-degree angle closest to the edge as possible so it makes your crease line. Then you fold back, you hit on the farthest side, which is all the way to the other side. Get it over, and then as you flatten it out, it'll push this line back. It's gonna take time, but as you can see, like when I first bent it, it was actually back here, and then as I smashed it out, it moved back out to where it's in a straight line. So I got that. Some of you guys wanna see some planishing. It's pretty smooth right now, but obviously I gotta take care of this stuff. So I'm gonna put this up on the tripod, and I'm gonna show you some hammer and dolly. I like to use this little ball peen. It's about 2 inches long, but I could really focus on certain areas with the hammer and dolly and just work one area and get that where I want it and move on. So I'm gonna show you guys some of that right now. So this is basically how I planish most of my metal work right now, until I could obviously get me a handheld pneumatic planisher. It's gonna be, so, well, let's see here, trying to find a place where you guys could see what's going on. Right here would be probably ideal. Okay, so basically, I like to pull, this door's kind of screwed up, but I've got to get underneath. And I could really focus. I like to use this in, it creates it's a dome effect. It lifts it up so I can get that weld up, so I could just knock that weld slightly down. But at the same time, I'm smashing that weld down. It's kind of the pain to get in there, but once we get it in there. And then what I do like to use, I have multiple spoons. I've been using my big one. This one here covers a wide broad area, so it can keep that area whole flat while I'm just focused on hitting that when it's hammer on dolly. So that's basically the planishing method. It's gonna take time. You guys, basically all we do is we chase this until we get it where we want it. There's numerous ways to, like back here it gets real tight, so I can't use a dolly. So what I have to do, I have to improvise, and I use the backside of a spoon that I can get up there and wedge in between this crease, which picks this up. If you watch the metal, you'll see it move up as I apply pressure. If I can get it where I want it. See, so I don't know if you guys could see that, but my metal's moving, so I know that I'm applying pressure where I need it, and then basically hammer and dolly. So I'm just gonna keep working it until I get it really where I want it. And then you use the grinder every now and then, or a piece of sandpaper. I like to use a grinder and I just kiss it. This takes time. Some people will take off too much metal, but I just like to. So, as you can see, over here, it's starting to get better and better. You can see like where there's no weld, a little bit of weld. Over here, I've got more work to do, but over here, it's starting to really come up too. So like I said, we just keep chasing this, but overall, it's pretty smooth. I'm just gonna keep doing some more dollying and grinding, and eventually I'll get this thing done. All right, so I got it all metal finished and pretty much whipped out. Feels pretty good. Had to do a little bit of shrinking up in here. There's a couple areas I'm gonna mess with, but I'm gonna put it on the car. I've got everything finished out. So as you can see, it's basically a pretty smooth rusting. Now it's, you know, where rust used to be, it's pretty much finished panel. So I hope you guys like this little how-to video. I will be moving on to the rest of the car, so I can, if you guys want to see a series where I kind of go on to each deal. The next deal, I got to do this other door, which obviously you guys already seen a door, but the fenders I think will be pretty unique, being it's one piece, and you guys can kind of see how that's made. But if you guys want to see it, like, shout out to me, message me, say, hey, yeah, you know, let's do a series on this Austin taxi, just so I know kind of what you guys, if you guys just want to see, you know, different things, which obviously another door, you guys wouldn't want to see that, but I think this fender would be pretty interesting for some of you that are kind of getting into this. You guys would be able to see how you make it out of one piece and stuff like that. Let me know. Just trying to get an idea of what you guys are kind of wanting besides just content. If that's all you guys want, then I'll just do content. But I'm kind of here to help people learn how this art and this business and stuff like that is kind of evolving, and it's kind of going, I wouldn't say out of control, but we're trying to eliminate body fillers, and that's what we're doing in today's age. So if you guys aren't a subscriber, click the link below. If you like the video, hit the like button. But you guys could also head over to my social media pages. I've got different things coming up and different things going on, so just not the particular car thing. But if you guys are interested in anything, I do have some tools in the works that I have purchased and that I will be purchasing that you guys will kind of be in awe of. So like I said, stay tuned, and I'll show you guys the next stage of moving into these fenders.